Welcome back, sinners, and today we're going to be diving into the film Scream 6, a 2023 film directed by Matt Olpin and Tyler Gillette, starring Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Courtney Cox, Hayden Panettiere, and Dermot Mulroney in the sixth installment of the Scream franchise, as we try to uncover the latest Ghostface killer. We start the opening scene in a bustling New York restaurant. Laura is waiting at the bar for her Tinder date, Reggie, but he's late. He calls her, saying he's gotten lost because he is new to the city. They chat for a moment, and both seem awkward. She goes on and on about slasher movies, as she is an associate film professor at the university. After a while, Laura goes outside to meet Reggie, but he keeps getting lost. He exclaims that he's walking down an alleyway as she attempts to guide him, but is unable to see him. She walks further down into an alleyway, hoping to guide Reggie, and suddenly his voice shifts to Ghostface's. He jumps her and stabs her to death. No one is able to hear her scream given the busy city night, as he leaves her cold, bloodied, and dead as a victim of her own curiosity. Jason removes the mask, changes his clothes, and begins walking to his apartment nonchalantly. He runs into Tara and wonders if her sister is coming to the party. She says no, and they part ways. Back at home, he washes up and his partner, Craig, calls him. The scene reveals Jason and Craig to be the new Ghostface killers. Craig presses Jason to recall how it felt to stab Laura. He describes it akin to slaughtering a piece of meat and her being less than a human being. The two then plot to carry out new Ghostface murders, specifically Sam and Tara Carpenter. Craig presses Jason to play a game with him called Warmer Colder as Craig continues to tease him. Jason, disliking the idea, indulges him regardless. Midway through their call, something begins to increase. Jason grows suspicious of the call and wonders if it's truly Craig. The caller guides him to the fridge ever slowly as he says, "Warmer, warmer, you're burning hot, Jason." Upon opening the fridge, he finds Greg's dismembered body. Another Ghostface appears from behind and slashes Jason, killing him in the process. The movie reels us to Sam Carpenter, a former survivor of the Ghostface murders. She's repressing her past trauma because she's always worried about her sister. She tells her therapist about her father, Billy, being a serial killer, and how her ex-boyfriend turned out to be a copycat killer as he idolized her father. Her ex and his girlfriend committed crimes and said Sam orchestrated the whole thing. The rumor went viral and forced Sam to defend herself and her sister by brutally killing her ex. Sam confesses that she's in therapy because killing her boyfriend felt good, that it felt right. She fears inheriting her father's illness. The therapist freaks out and intends to report the session to the police, so Sam grows frustrated and simply leaves for not understanding her situation. On her way home, she notices police cars on campus and grows fretful about her sister's safety. At her apartment, she asks their roommate, Quinn, about Tara. She realizes Tara went to the fraternity party despite Sam warning her not to. Now she's worried about Tara going there unarmed and plans on following her. She glimpses her crush through the window and ignores Quinn's egging to speak to him. At the party, we discover that the Carpenters are attending Blackmore College with fellow Ghostface survivors Chad and Mindy. Tara is always too distrustful of people, but she yearns for companionship. When a guy called Frankie invites her to his room, Annika, Mindy's girlfriend, tries to intervene, but Tara reassures her. Annika calls for Chad to confront Frankie, who gets rough with Tara. The boys scuffle until Sam arrives, who finds him and tases Frankie in the balls, leaving him crippled in pain. The survivors are codependent and excessively overprotective of each other. The party turns sour as everyone films Sam and calls her a psycho as the group moves outside, where Tara snaps at Sam and tells her to stop controlling her life. Tara wounds Sam by saying she doesn't hold any degrees and has followed her sister to college to protect her, but Tara wants to forget Ghostface attacks and live on. The conversation abruptly ends when a girl throws her drink at Sam and calls her a murderer. Ethan, Chad's friend, kindly offers tissues and leaves, leaving Sam all alone for the time being. Quinn apologizes to Tara for telling Sam and says her father became overprotective after she lost her brother. Chad arrives and Tara thanks him for stopping her from making a big mistake. She confesses that she's a bit messed up, but Chad comforts her by saying he'll always be there. The two are about to kiss when Quinn barges in, looking for her phone, which prompts an embarrassed Chad to leave. Despite all the drama tonight, Tara smiles as she lies on her bed, realizing she's doing her best to have a regular life. On the other hand, Sam meets with her crush, Danny, in the apartment lobby. They kiss on the dorm stairs as she is keeping their relationship a secret. Danny supports her in every way and is willing to wait for Sam. Suddenly, Chad calls everyone to his room. The reporter on TV reveals that Jason and Craig are dead and says they had multiple Ghostface masks and bloody weapons at home. Chad asks Danny to leave while Sam springs to action. She takes a knife and orders Tara to pack her bags because they have to leave the city. Tara freaks out, saying it's Halloween and Sam is melodramatic. Tara won't abandon her college education. The legendary reporter Gail Weathers calls Sam, but she hangs up. Quinn then calls her dad, a detective, and he informs Sam to come to the police station as the situation is dire, further validating her paranoia. On their way to the police station, Richie Kirsch calls Sam. He was her ex and the former Ghostface, but he's supposedly dead, so they believe it to be the work of a troll. Sam picks up and hears Ghostface's voice. He says he killed the two psycho students, planning on harming her and her sister because he wants revenge by exposing Sam's true nature to the world and putting her down himself. Out of nowhere, Ghostface appears, grabs Tara, and is about to stab her, but Sam shoves him away, allowing them to flee in the street. Ghostface chases them to a corner store and shockingly attacks random people who stand up for the sisters. He only relents when the shop owner blasts him with a shotgun but misses, forcing Ghostface to hide and then jump the man and kill him. The sisters hide in the aisle as Ghostface, armed with the shotgun, is searching. He shoots a few times to push them out of hiding, but Sam throws a can in the other direction to deter him. He then finds them. Fortunately, Sam throws a shelf over him, and the police arrive as they flee the store. However, in a blink of an eye, the killer has disappeared, but leaves a mask behind. At the police station, Quinn's dad interrogates the sisters and claims Jason and Craig had a mask belonging to Richie. Surprisingly, he is suspicious of the sisters and asks for their solid alibis, each sharing that it couldn't have been them, since Tara was at a party and Sam was with her therapist. He plays a video of Sam attacking the girl that threw the drink and says Jason's killer stole Sam's ID and planted it at the murder scene. He believes someone close to the sisters snatched the ID. Suddenly, the detective is recalled as FBI Special Agent Kirby Reed, a survivor of the 2011 Ghostface killings, arrives and takes jurisdiction. She greets the sisters and says she'll work with Detective Wayne to protect them. Wayne shows her a mask belonging to Charlie Walker, a killer who stabbed Kirby. The mask was left in the grocery store, but it is not identical to the one the killer was wearing. Tara notes the assailant's mask was older and marred. Kirby realizes the killer is an avid fan of the history of the murders and believes the online conspiracy stories about Sam. Wayne says the sisters can't leave the station since they are persons of interest, but Sam ignores him and walks out, dragging Tara along. A horde of reporters await them outside as they swarm the two, spearheaded by Gale Weathers, who's sniffing for salacious details. Sam tries to punch her, but Tara lands the blow instead and warns her to stay away from them. They're mad at Gale for writing another murder book and showing them in a bad light. Before they leave, Gale reveals that she talked to Sydney, the very first survivor of Ghostface. Sydney sends her love, but she is prioritizing her kids and family given the recent events. Before leaving, Tara says without Ghostface, Gale will simply become irrelevant. At night, the therapist is visited by an ominous visitor. He attempts to see who beckons for him as he answers the door before being brutally assaulted and murdered by Ghostface as he rummages through the therapist's files, retrieving Samantha Carpenter's psychological profile. The next day at Blackmore University, the group, led by Mindy, analyzes the recent murders and patterns. The movie Stab 1 is the origin of Ghostface, where the first murder occurs in college, then at a shop. Pretty much like what has happened in the last few days. Mindy theorizes that the new killers are franchising, which means they'll try very hard to overachieve and surpass the previous iterations of Ghostface. Mindy warns them that no one is safe, not even legacy survivors like Gale and Sydney. Ethan is Chad's dorky roommate who has grown closer to the group, so Mindy is suspicious of his innocent act. She also points a finger at Quinn, who has smoothly joined the group and has a detective dad, which makes it a perfect cover for a killer. Then finally, Mindy turns on her girlfriend, Annika, stating love interests are the least trustworthy suspects. Ethan and Quinn then wonder if one of the 4 survivors could be the perpetrator, since the traumatic event could have unlocked their bloodlust. The scene shifts to Kirby and Wayne as they discover the death of Sam's therapist. The killer left a Ghostface mask belonging to Stab 3's director and former murderer. The duo has an intricate timeline about all the killers and underscores that the masks are a countdown to the original killer, Bill, the sister's father. 2 more masks to go. When Kirby leaves, Wayne asks an officer to get him her file. At the apartment, Tara asks Chad to leave the city since he doesn't have to stay with her. Mindy makes fun of them and tells them to kiss already. The fun quickly ends when the news reports that Sam is the prime suspect in the killings, especially since she killed her previous boyfriend, has Billy as a father, and has recently attacked a college girl even though it was taken out of context. Samantha takes a moment and finally breaks down, saying it's exhausting being hated so much. Chad says they all moved here together because they are a team. He adds that they all appreciate Sam's courage and what she has done to save them all. Sam confesses that she's in a relationship with Danny, causing everyone to laugh at the thought of her bonding with someone. Speaking of Danny, he watches from his window as Ghostface enters the apartment and looms over Quinn. He manages to distract the killer and calls Sam. Sam's phone rings, but it is taken from her teasingly before she decides to avoid his call and opting to return the call later. Ghostface attacks Quinn and sends her picture to the Core 4, the name Chad had picked out for them. They hear noises from behind the door as Quinn's body is thrown at them, and he lunges at them from the room, slashes Mindy's arm, and chokes Annika when she tries to protect her. Chad and Tara make a run for it while Sam searches for the knives, but they are nowhere to be found. Ghostface cruelly stabs Annika until Sam smacks him and guides the girls to a room. Ghostface recovers and locks Chad and Tara out. He then tries barging in, but they hide in the bathroom. He comes for them, pushing them into the adjacent room. Danny, on the other side, masterminds a plan to save the girls as Danny extends a ladder and Sam carefully crawls to his apartment after a brief dispute. Mindy goes next, leaving a critically wounded Annika for last, as she attempts it herself but is stuck on the ladder at the mercy of Ghostface, who shakes it until Annika plummets to her death. At dawn, the group reels from the traumatic attacks. Sam tells Danny that someone took the knives, so she can't trust anyone, including him. Chad confronts Ethan, who says he was in class with a dozen other students that night. Detective Wayne crumbles outside the murder scene when he realizes his daughter is one of the victims. He vows revenge despite being taken off the case and promises to hunt down the killer. Gail arrives, so everyone tenses up, but she comes in peace without cameras because she wants to help. Kirby also shows up and coldly welcomes Gail. Gail comes bearing good news. She exclaims that she has found something of use, a rented old abandoned building that belonged to Jason and Craig, as she leads the group to the location. It has extensive security, and inside lies a shrine from all the previous Ghostface murders. Books, weapons, items, and even clothes. Tara wonders how all the evidence got here, so Gail explains that cops can be easily bribed and that the killer located the shrine after finishing Jason and Craig. Sam finds Billy's mannequin and hallucinates her father coaxing her into continuing the family's murderous legacy. Tara is creeped out by her sister and goes for fresh air. Sam follows her, but Tara wants to forget their father's legacy, so she runs off. Gail encourages Sam to forge new bonds and build a family, even if it's with 2 members. So she has to keep trying with Tara. Wayne rallies everyone because he plans to turn the tables on the killer. Unfortunately, no press is allowed, so Gail is booted out. We cut to a scene the next day with Sam and Tara walking alone in the park to bait the killer. It works. Richie, or better yet Ghostface, calls and threatens them, but Kirby manages to track the caller to Gail's apartment. Tara and Sam frantically steal Wayne's cruiser and zip through traffic, realizing who's next. At the same time, Gail's boyfriend hands her the phone, and she hears Ghostface's voice after many years. He wonders if it is time for somebody to report Gail's death and make her pay for all the money she's made off people's misery. He makes Gail cry by bringing up Dewey's death and suddenly kills her boyfriend, vaulting towards her next, slashing in her general direction. She evades and smacks him with a pot, then flees outside with him on her tail. Gail hides in the bedroom and locks the door. She retrieves her handgun and opens fire. The killer vanishes and then calls her, claiming she missed and she'll always live in Sydney's shadow. Gail valiantly goes to confront Ghostface, her boyfriend's body littered on the floor as she converses with Ghostface. She fires twice into the closet, and Ghostface emerges, lunges at her and pins her against the wall as he stabs her in the knee. She flees for her life until she is able to miraculously throw him on her shoulder and onto a coffee table. While he's disoriented, she attempts to go for his knife, but gets stabbed with a shard of glass in response. Ghostface nearly ends her life, before, at a vital moment, as Sam appears, picks up the handgun and forces him to retreat by laying a couple shots in his direction. The EMTs rescue Gail, but she might not make it. She begs Sam to inform Sydney that he didn't get her. Danny arrives at the hospital, but everyone is suspicious of him. Sam decides to willingly give herself to the killer to spare the rest of them, but Tara says Sam always protects everyone, so it is time they protect her. Tara intends to return to the theater shrine and lure the killer there. They ask Wayne to help with this plan, and he agrees. As they all attempt to board the subway during Halloween rush hour, a gaggle of humans separates Mindy and Ethan from the group. On the train, they notice dozens of people with Ghostface masks and creepy costumes, further tensing everyone up. Mindy and Ethan board another train. Sam hallucinates a Ghostface staring at her, while Mindy notices a man in a Ghostface costume approaching her as the lights flicker. He vanishes and then lunges at her with a knife. After being stabbed, Ethan finds Mindy collapsing in a pool of her blood and calls for help. As they reach the theater, Sam tells Danny to leave because she doesn't know him. Inside, Kirby explains that the only way in or out is through the electronic gate, which she has chained. Sam tries calling Mindy but ends up seeing her dad again, urging her to take a knife. This time, she heeds his request. Wayne calls and tells her to get out of there because Kirby was fired from the FBI many months ago for being mentally unstable. Sam tries escaping, but a projection of murder plays on its own and the power begins to fluctuate. Tara and Chad are enjoying a moment of peace and confess their love. They kiss when, out of nowhere, Ghostface stabs Tara once in the back. Chad heroically punches and kicks him away. They scurry away as they rejoin Sam and try to escape, but the killer cuts their path. After a brief scuffle, Sam loses his knife and they zoom through the back. The trio overpowers the killer and takes him down, and just before Chad can finish him off, another Ghostface appears and brutalizes Chad. The sisters are cornered from each side, so they make their last stand until a wounded Kirby appears and opens fire, forcing the killers to retreat. Wayne arrives and wonders if Kirby killed his daughter. At gunpoint, the two officers exchange blame, confusing the sisters. A killer appears behind Wayne, distracting Kirby, which gets her shot. The two ghost faces rally behind Wayne and reveal themselves. It's Ethan and Quinn. She's alive, and her father staged the whole thing. They want Sam to put Billy's mask on because they intend to frame her for the new murders. They started the rumors and conspiracy theories about Sam to assassinate her character. It is revealed that Ethan and Quinn are siblings, and that they had another brother, Richie, which Sam killed. Their entire family is psychotic and obsessed with the murders. They slash Sam's arm and say this is Richie's favorite place, where they bonded by collecting these murder weapons, so Sam must die here. Realizing that they're sentimental, Sam's demeanor hardens as she boasts about killing Richie seconds before he begged for his miserable life. A furious Quinn attacks her, but Sam is ready. She smacks her with a brick, and Kirby appears and shoots them. Ethan stabs Kirby until Sam pummels him with a brick and his knife. Sam takes Kirby's gun as they both flee on a balcony, where Tara slips, but Sam holds her. At Tara's pleading, Sam drops her sister with a knife, allowing her to kill Ethan. Sam taunts Quinn about losing another brother before shooting her. Wayne watches his entire family perish, but when Sam shoots him, her gun is empty, so she dives at Wayne, tumbling off the balcony. When he wakes up, she's gone, and so is her father's Ghostface costume. Sam calls Wayne and gives him a taste of his medicine by pretending to be Ghostface. He is spooked, wastes a lot of bullets, and doesn't notice Sam from behind the curtain until she repeatedly hacks him with a knife. When the ordeal ends, Tara thanks Sam for letting her go and trusting her. She promises her sister that they'll get through this with a lot of therapy. Ethan charges them one last time, but Kirby bashes him with the television. Suddenly, Danny arrives with the police in tow and hugs Sam, proving his good guy status. The medics retrieve Kirby, and surprisingly, Chad, who is alive and ready to share another kiss with Tara. In the final shot, Samantha considers keeping her father's mask, but throws it on the ground and departs with Danny and Tara as the screen fades to black.